society.
I just think Elon Musk, as you say it. I am very much.
Like it. Ethel, welcome to Flame Station. Lovely to see you again.
Hi, Ruan. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Yeah, so what I would like to chat to you about today is a little bit around your experience in the practical application of artificial intelligence. But before I start, how did you get involved in AI, or why did you get involved in AI?
I probably have a different introduction to AI than most would. I was fortunate enough to have my own business where we were extensively sourcing skills for projects. And that led me to people in the industry where we wanted to understand a little bit more sentiment analysis, profiling people. So we did a project on Facebook where we would use 500 words and then profile an individual. And it was very accurate. But then, I don't know if you know, with the elections abroad with Trump, and the whole scenario around Facebook changed. But that was was my first exposure to AI in my own business. And then we went on to see how can we look at using AI to scrape certain information and match it to other information like CVs and information on websites, etc.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was my first introduction.
Yes,
and then obviously now I've been with Lark for 5 years. And there it was AI from the start, and it's been AI ever since.
Okay, so Lark AI, what does Lark AI do?
We focus on AI. We focus on intelligent automation, and we've built our own product, which is an AI orchestrator. To make all of these types of projects successful, we also had to invest ourselves heavily into data. But that's basically what we do.
Yeah, interesting that you're talking about orchestrators. Is that like the platform or the tool that links AI to workflows? And what is an orchestrator? That's how I see it.
So when we say orchestration, it can probably mean a lot. But in the world of AI and putting AI into production, it's got to do with scenarios where we would need governance, where you would need auditability, quality assurance, role-based access, human in the loop. So AI is not something that can live on its own. It needs a little package.
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely a different perspective that I haven't thought of before. It's everything around making AI work.
Yes.
Yeah, in my mind, the orchestration was more the technical piece, but yeah, that was insightful. So thanks for sharing. So you've got a number of years experience now in implementing AI in companies. You also mentioned that you have a case study. Could you tell us a little bit more about this case study and what was involved and what was your experience?
I think there's a number of case studies, Ruan, that I could go into, but seeing in the light of what you are trying to achieve with this initiative, let me talk to you about Intimbeco. They are an investment administrator. They were born from Coronation. So it's a small little startup that started, and their whole idea of growing their business was to do it with AI and automation tools from the get-go, not to employ excessive amounts of staff, not to employ extra staff, but to see how can they use robotic process automation to perform the mundane tasks, and from the start, use their employees for the more difficult tasks that a robotic process automation software can't do.
So that's like almost a AI native approach. I guess in the past we were speaking about digital native banks and digital native companies, but this is like AI native from the get-go, designing it to. Okay, very interesting. Tell me more.
Yeah, and I think they are very successful in doing that. And they are still growing. So I think it does help them to work that way. But if I have to think of a startup in general, having had my own business, what we struggle with often is not just getting yourself out there, but then to deliver on what you got in, because you don't have enough hands and we don't want to employ people. And I think that's what Ntobeko did well, is they said they're going to use tech to not employ people.
Yeah, I think that's the way things are going to go. I guess the question that I've got on that is, how did they upskill themselves? AI is relatively new, or did they strategically plan to partner and make this work from the get-go?
Yes, they went the partner approach. So we partnered with them. We built out the solutions for them, the technologies, the processes. We've put the environment into place that they need to make use of technologies and tools like that to build out their processes.
Okay, cool. I think that's also good advice. If you're going to try to do a lot of this on your own, you're going to be busy for too long and then the businesses run away.
No, absolutely. I think there's a few leaders in the market when it comes to AI, automation, etc. And it's okay not to be a leader, but then you need to follow fast. And the best way to follow fast is to partner up with the guys who's been in the market for a while.
Absolutely. What is your experience around startups using AI tools? What tools are available? How do startups get involved in finding out how AI can help them?
I'm glad you asked this. It's something that I'm very passionate about, and I'll tell you why. Log AI also run as a startup.
Okay.
Our approach, our mentality, how we do things is very entrepreneurial and have that startup energy. So what you need to consider as a startup, especially when you're unfunded, so you get funded and unfunded started. A funded startup can use paid tools and can use some more expensive tools. And unfunded startups often need to look at what's available in the open source market space. But something that I want to zone into is generative AI. Generative AI is going to change our economy and our world in totality. Generative AI will enable startups to scale much faster. It will also create a lot of competition. It will also help people to get where big organizations already much faster. So big companies will compete with startups with what generative AI can bring. And I'll tell you why I say that. With getting your brand out there, generative AI is a tool that can create pictures, it can create content, it can create infographics, it can create proposals. There's so much it can do for you in seconds, minutes, of doing that. All you need to do is learn how to use the tool, watch a few videos, do prompt engineering, and off you go. Then, as a startup, you need to focus on delivery. So instead of focusing on administrative tasks within in your business, get a robot to do that. Take an open source robot and deploy that robot to do XYZ tasks. And I use it every day. I use robots on my computer every single day with the work that I do. And then you can focus on your delivery. You don't have to focus on admin, sales, follow-up emails, all of that. So I think for me, generative AI in the startup market, if you know how to use it, it can elevate your journey quite quickly.
Yes. Yeah. So I think this the access to getting things done quickly is amazing with Gen AI, as you were speaking about the branding, some of the automation tasks. The next thing in AI, so I heard, is these agentic agents that can actually do things for you. Are you talking about, is that like similar to this process automation using Gen AI? Or is this agentic AI something completely different?
So if you had to have, I think the term to use AI assistant, and I know why you say agentic, because there's some generative capability within them. You still need to instruct them quite well. And I think it's very, very important to know that generative AI and large language models can only generate what it has been exposed to.
Yes, yes.
So it's very, very important to note that. And then, yes, have an AI assistant with generative capability to do certain things, reply to your emails, send emails, keep that loop going. I think, yes, that is very important. Something that I use, and it's maybe a little secret, but something that I use is before I send an email out, I use an AI tool to write a small little, almost like an introduction before I get into the email. And I get the information from LinkedIn. So it will go onto someone's LinkedIn page and see what they are doing and how they are doing and how long they've been there. And then it will start and it will say, hi, John. So for somebody who is a CFO and has 5 years experience in the industry, you must be somebody that wants to see how you can save money, blah, 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 blah. It does it way better than I can do it. And then my email starts, and that is awesome for cold interaction.
Yeah, excellent. Very nice example. So we were speaking about startups. If we look at corporates and large organizations, how is that different from startups? Are they agile? Can they make decisions? What other challenges do large enterprises and corporates have when going on the AI journey for productivity improvement, whatever they do? What's your experience from a large organization's perspective?
So I do feel that startups can get a lot of value from LLMs and generative AI much faster. The appetite for taking risk and getting something into production, if you want to call it, get something out there, play with it, use it, work it, and get benefit from it, versus large enterprises that have red tape, governance. I'll tell you, it's not a bad thing though, but within a large organization, you need to look at getting data ready. You need to have test data, then you need to have that whole orchestration set up to make sure that there's governance and there's auditability, quality assurance, role-based access, human in the loop, all of those types of things you need to have available. And then the magnitude of impact when an LLM or generative AI react differently than expected. And I'll give you a good example of that. If you have a project in production, to get it in production is already a bit of a hassle. But if you have a project in production with large language models and you want to make a change to it, then you take it out of production and you make a change. You have to then test it with a lot of data before you can put it back into production. So you don't only test for that change that you've made, you actually need to test whether it's still working correctly. So LLM behaviors in production, I've seen to change. It will process a document, and if we scan the document in and have the document quality slightly not as great as the first document, exactly the same document, it will process it differently. So the stress testing for generative AI or large language models for big corporates that they need to go through to mitigate their risk is massive. Whereas in a startup, it's not. You don't have to go through all of the testing and stress testing to get value out of your generative AI project or LLM project, or even your bot that you're running.
Yes. Yeah, that's very interesting because the LLMs can give you these slight different answers and it changes over time. So yeah, I guess
it's
that's
like a naughty
big challenge for
child.
corporates. Yeah.
It literally is like a naughty child. We will have it in production and it runs perfect. So it will process everything correct. And then it has one document it doesn't process correctly, or one piece of unstructured information it just reads incorrectly. And it made me read up a lot on the understanding of what it means when they say language understanding. What does it mean?
Yes. Yeah, and I guess that's where the term human in the loop comes in, is making sure people have oversight of what these AIs do in the background.
100%. I don't think that you can deploy LLMs or generative AI without having a human in the loop to intercept your process or to even QA and monitor what's happening.
Yes. So what do you see happening in the next couple of years? Because AI is moving so fast. It was 2 years since GPT. I was involved in AI at least before that. I think there's a term BGPT, and but how do you see the next 2 or 3 years developing in AI?
It is so exciting. There's so much happening. For me, the exciting part is the video creation that is now really taking place, with prompt engineering. And it really makes it possible for the non-creative to be creative. It makes it possible so that is going to change. What I see from an economical point of view, generative AI and how it is getting better I would say every 2 months, we have a new update. It's getting better and it's getting cheaper. With that happening, that means organizations and startups and small to medium enterprises will be able to bring their operational costs down extensively. They will be able to get to market much faster with new products, new ideas. And that will mean that from a whole economical stand, the price of things are going to come down. Yes, because it isn't so expensive anymore. Your back office, your admin costs, your even sales and marketing costs is going to be much cheaper. And customer service are going to be much cheaper. So that it will drive down our costs.
Yes. I'm just curious, how are you going to differentiate yourself in the future if a lot of this business activities, if you know how to use AI, you're going to be sort of on the same playing field. You don't need an expert in X, Y, Z. I'm just curious, how do you think companies that deliver services or products are going to differentiate themselves from others if everybody's got great AI to help with marketing, great AI to send invoices, great AI to follow up. Yeah.
I like that question. I once asked my father, I'm not sure if I should open up my business. There's a lot of competition and everybody's doing it. And he said to me, if you are in a town and there's 4 burger joints, are you going to open a burger joint or a Pizza Hut? And I said, I don't know, probably a fish place. And he said, no, you're going to open another burger joint because it's already doing well. So that's the one thing. The other thing is because the technology is changing so rapidly, we look after the technology, we service providers.
Yes.
The corporates are doing business as usual. Their focus is BU. Yes, they do take the technology and they use it, but they can also get information from us in the point when it comes to, let me say it better, we work with a whole lot of organizations, service providers work with many organizations. So your ability to bring IP of what does work, what doesn't work, and how to best do it is not something that a corporate can necessarily invest in.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and I guess it's just keeping up with, because the pace of change is so fast. If you are able to keep up to some extent, then that gives you the advantage again. And maybe as a company you can't, but if you partner with somebody that does keep up, okay, next week we're using this, 2 months from now we see this new technology coming, let's strategize to see if this is going to help us. So maybe there's some differentiation coming down the line, is just keeping up.
I think you ask a very valid question. I do think that generative AI, there's been a huge impact in the IT industry alone. When I look at a few years ago, we really struggled to find skills, and people were often walking around and saying, we have a skill shortage, we have a skill shortage. I do think generative AI will also flatten that a bit for us. There's a lot, one developer can do a lot more these days than they could have done 5 years or 10 years ago.
Yes, yes.
So I do think that whole skill shortage issue will be flatlined a bit. And I do think the competition in service will be bigger. You must know what you're doing and have good relationships of trust.
Yes. Yeah, I guess that human element comes back into
trust,
the loop.
relationships. It does. At the end of the day, it is part of the game.
Yes. So, sort of just to wrap up, we're going to ask you a question around, because we were speaking about the economy and the skills gap and costs coming down. Do you see, so there's quite a wide spectrum between people that believe AI is going to take us to a dystopian world, and on the other side, people think we're going to go to this utopian world where nobody has to work. Where on that spectrum are you in the next couple of years? How is AI going to impact society?
I just think Elon Musk, as you say it. I am very much a realist. I'm very realistic when it comes to technologies like this. It will take many, many, many years to get to that point. Do we evolve? Yes, we do evolve. I had the opportunity to do a workshop at Willys Financial Services. And one of the questions I asked them was, there are certain positions available today. Were those positions available 10, maybe 20 years ago? No, they were not. So will that evolve and keep changing? I do think so. I don't think the human race was made to sit on their backsides and drink coffee and be lazy. I just don't think that as humans can actually have constant holidays.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's just sort of human nature if you look at history. Otherwise, nothing would have evolved if we weren't, as a species, trying to sort of move forward. So yeah, I like that.
Humans like to do things and work and achieve and create. And that will, I think it will always stay that way.
Yes, we're just going to get better with the capabilities, and
it will just change. The environment will just change. The jobs will change. How we work will change, but we will work.
Okay. Well, we need to get back to work. Thanks a lot for your time today. It was a really insightful conversation. Thanks for your views, and then hope to speak to you again.
Well, thank you so much, Ruan. I appreciate you inviting me.
Awesome.
Thanks. Chat soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.